Let's talk about Lu Dort, a man who has somehow convinced his entire NBA team that what he does on a basketball court is just playing hard. Well, it's not playing hard. Lu Dort is out here playing some of the dirtiest basketball that most people have ever seen. And the only reason he's still really in the NBA is because he's on the Thunder, and the Thunder are doing really well right now, and they're doing a good job of covering it up. But before we can get to the chaos, let's talk about where this man came from. We should probably talk about his story because it's actually pretty interesting. Lu Dort was born in Montreal to parents of Haitian descent. He grew up there and primarily played soccer as a goaltender until his brothers persuaded him to play basketball. Seems that goalie mindset has stuck with him because he's been a depoy candidate pretty much every year he's been in the league. He plays ball like he's trying to stop the shots from going in, except now the net is an entire human being and the rulebook is more of a suggestion than an actually enforced rulebook. He began playing street basketball in St. Laurent Park in Montreal. Basketball redirected his life, and he repaid the sport by terrorizing every star player who dared drive into his airspace. Dort completed his high school career at the Athlete Institute in Mono, Ontario. He was rated as high as a 5-star recruit on some lists, and he was one of the top high school players in Canada. From there, he committed to Arizona State, where he averaged 16.1, 4.3, and 1.5 steals as a freshman. He won the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year and declared for the draft after one season. Here is where things get interesting. After going undrafted in the 2019 draft, Dort signed a 2-way contract with OKC. This guy was pretty much the hidden gem of this draft. Every team in the league passed on him. So when he went to OKC, which was fresh off of trading Russell Westbrook and Paul George, it was now deep into a full rebuild. Nobody thought this team was going anywhere. So, obviously, he got a little bit of a chance. Then the 2020 playoffs happened, and people really started paying attention to the Oklahoma City Thunder. In 2020, Dort was applauded for his defense on James Harden during a 7-game first-round series, and by at least one measure was considered the highest effort defensive player in the entire NBA. James Harden, who had spent years making Hall of Fame defenders look foolish, was being hounded by an undrafted 20-year-old on a 2-way contract. Oklahoma City later lost that series, but Lu Dort left the bubble as a person of interest for pretty much every offensive star in the league. The Thunder then re-signed him to a 4-year, $5.4 million contract after the season. Then he just kept getting better, more physical, and kept earning larger contracts, eventually becoming a starter on the OKC team that went 68-14 and won the ring. The undrafted goalkeeper from Montreal became a champion. That part of the story is pretty incredible. Now let's talk about the story that gets Lu Dort a little bit of a different kind of attention, because through 7 seasons and 413 career games, he has 9 technical fouls, 6 flagrant fouls, and 4 career ejections. And the raw numbers don't even really tell the full story, because for every play that gets flagged, there are 10 more that get away clean, but somehow end up on someone's Twitter feed. The leg kicks, the sneaky elbows, the weird foot in the landing, the way he uses his whole body as a weapon instead of a way to block a shot. His first career ejection came when he elbowed Kevin Love and was assessed a flagrant 2 foul. Then a couple years later, he was ejected for hitting Daniel Gafford of the Dallas Mavericks in an area where no player wants to be hit in. I'm assuming you could probably figure it out. That foul requires no explanation. Then there was the Jokic situation pretty recently, which has been going viral. During a Thunder Nuggets game, Jokic was running back down the floor when Lu Dort stuck out his leg and tripped the 3-time MVP. Jokic immediately got up and confronted him. A little bit of a scuffle broke out, and Lu Dort was assessed a flagrant 2 and ejected. After the game, Jokic delivered the most Jokic possible reaction, calling it an unnecessary move and a necessary reaction. Then, a few days later, Dort swung his arm and smacked Jokic in the face while fighting over a screen. Jokic hit the floor, grabbing his nose, and referees upgraded it to a flagrant 1 after review. Dort later apologized post-game, but 2 Jokic incidents in the same week began to get the fans talking a little bit. By this point, you've probably seen countless commentary videos just like this one talking about Lu Dort and being a dirty player. And because of all this, he has gotten the unfortunate nickname Lu Dirt. But when asked whether he considers himself a dirty player, Dort had a response that deserves to be in a museum. "I have a tough job guarding the best players every night. It is not easy. Obviously, I play hard, I'm a physical player, it's what I do for my team, and sometimes people think it's too much, but it's always within the rules of the game. Within the rules of the game is a bit of a stretch. This is the same guy that has almost as many flagrant fouls as he does seasons in the league, and this dude just called himself within the rules with a straight face. But now I'm gonna bring up a little bit of a conspiracy theory, and I want you to hear me out on this because the evidence is pretty interesting in my opinion. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, leads the league in drawing free throws. A lot of people around the league would call this unethical or call him a free throw merchant. In recent times, it's become a little less intense than it was last year when basically people blame the MVP on being entirely free throws, which of course we know is not really the case. But to be honest, SGA is kind of like the Lu Dort of offense, if that makes sense. He just finds a way to get the fouls that referees have no choice but to call, even when half the audience is convinced that nothing occurred. But Shai gets all his free throws through the rules of the game. Lu Dort is out here committing flagrant fouls on people's spines and getting ejected for tripping 3-time MVPs who are just jogging up court minding their own business. My theory is simple. Lu Dort walked so SGA can run. Lu Dort exists on the roster solely so that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can play unethical hoops and make it look ethical. Just think about that for just a second. Now, I'm not really saying this is the case fully, but it is definitely a little bit of a theory that I have. Just hear me out on this, because think about it. Every time someone starts complaining about Shai drawing a questionable free throw, Lu Dort is somewhere on the same court putting his knee into someone's ribcage. The cameras are always off of Lu. The conversation then shifts. Shai goes to the free throw line, gets his 2 free throws, and the game goes on. You can't prove that this is really a plan, but you also can't prove that it wasn't. If Sam Presti intended this, he is an absolute genius because whatever Shai does looks completely ethical with Lu Dort on the same court. But this whole situation has just been hilarious, the way he's been elbowing people over the last year. But in all seriousness, Dort is one of the better stories in the NBA over the last several years. An undrafted goalkeeper from Montreal who played a year of college ball, did a one and done, and turned himself into a champion through sheer willpower, whether ethical or not. And while he's one of the league's top defenders, he gets there by being less than ethical. He is good at his job, very good at his job, but he is also, depending on who you asked, absolutely unhinged. Somehow both of those things are true at the same time, and Oklahoma City are way better off with it. But I'm running out of time today, so what do you think of my conspiracy theory? Do you think that Lu Dort is in there to make SGA look ethical, or do you think this was just a coincidence? What do you think of Lu Dort, how he's been kind of unethical, or do you think it is perfectly ethical? Let me know that in the comments as well. But I'm a small YouTuber, so if you want to help out, click that like button and subscribe, comment to boost the algorithm, and I'll see you guys next time.